So as you can tell by today's title, man, I'm going to be discussing my first, technically picada behind the walls. Someone asked me to do a little spill on this and talk about how I felt, what I went through and so forth, man. Already on the streets, right? Before I went to the county jail for the second time, because I just did a discussion about when I went from juvenile hall to the county, I was out for about 4 or 5 months, and I ended up catching a drive-by shooting. 246 shooting into an inhabited dwelling, did a drive-by in broad daylight, ended up getting caught up. So I'm in the county jail, and I'm learning more about the functions. It was basically like a battlegrounds, a training grounds. A lot of fights, really no type of structure or nothing like that, right? So I ended up getting rolled up. I got in a fight with some dude, and I get rolled up from Snake Pits to, I think it was Hollywood. Or second East, I forgot where it was at, man. And when I got to this unit, it was a total different type of atmosphere. It was kind of cool. We had a shower in there. It was like a dorm living and so forth. It was right there by the cafeteria where you eat, and right directly when you walk in. Before you walk in, it's like right over there. So there was this one dude, this Gavacho, older dude looking at 3 strikes. And there was some funny things about this dude. Like, he was always getting pulled out at night to do work for them and so forth. And, he tried to start like booing his way around the unit. And there wasn't too many homeboys in there at first. He's probably like about 5'9", like 370 pounds, like big old bro shot and so forth. Big fat dude, man. Like, when you think of like a old school Wood in the prison system, this is how this dude looked. So, I'm there. 1 or 2 other homeboys come there, but we're not getting dictated what we can do. We're just programming. And so I used to always get up kind of a little early sometimes, right? Especially on, I think it was Sundays. And I was watching a particular show, X-Men cartoon, right? And so no one else was really up at that time. And this dude comes and he just changes the channel on me to NASCAR racing. And see, I didn't know that sports always took priority over everything, you know what I'm saying? So I felt disrespected, man. And this guy did little things like that to try to like undermine me as being a youngster and so forth in the pod, you know what I mean? And I just didn't like it. So I started getting mad and frustrated and so forth, man. So I went and I had a couple extra razors. So I ended up cracking the razors, and I get 2 of them together because we're supposed to have 1. We have to be accounted for that. But I had some extra ones when someone would leave. So I cracked them open. I started to get some, not tape, but the laces from your socks. I started pulling those out and wrapping it up. And as this dude, he was sitting on these tables, because in the pods you have tables right in front of the TV. So I came from behind him, and I wasn't nervous. I was more frustrated and mad, but I was shaking a little bit because I was that angry and stuff. Because, as a youngster, as a kid on the streets, you don't let no one punk you in any form or fashion. And I felt that's what this dude did. So I was more ready to go hurt this dude. So, and that's what I was thinking. There was really not too much nerves, a little bit shakiness. Because, in future pegadas I did hits, anybody that's done a pegada behind the walls knows this. You start to get and you're going to do it or you're going to get off. You start to get clammy hands and you start to sweaty ass. You start to fart and stuff like that before you do the hit. Those are just your nerves. Those are your fears before you do it. This, I wasn't really feeling it like that. I was mad. I wanted to get this dude. So I came from behind him and I literally grabbed him like this, and I grabbed him real quick and I came like this, like got him from ear to ear, and bam, and I stopped about right there. In the process, I sliced him across his neck. And not too, I guess, the blade wasn't too much, but it was enough that there was fucking blood everywhere. And then I backed off and then I fucking hit him again. And I got him right here in his arm. And I sat there for a second, and he backs up and he goes and grabs a towel, and he's like, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" And I kicked a water bag because there was blood everywhere in case there was blood on my shoes. And I kicked him again, told him to get his bitch ass out. And so I went to the bathroom to go flush the piece. He's yelling, "Man down." They come, they're like, whoa, they just snatched him up. About 7 minutes later, they come to start moving us out. They moved me first. They grabbed me and they put me into this holding tank. And, this is how blind and naive I am to jail. I did not know that there's just as many, informants, jail informants, and so forth in the county jail. I thought that if you were a convict and you were GP, the majority of you guys would be solid in there. So I'm posted up in there and I'm kicking back. And I got this dude really good, man. I think he had to get like 72 staples and some stitches on his arm as well. I got him bad. It was a good hit. I mean, it was really a good one as far as the effects of it. So I think it was a correctional officer, I want to say Marlboro or something like that, man. He ends up coming up to the door and, I'm like, what's up, man? Like, because they tried to interview me at first. I said, I don't know anything. Whoa. So next thing you know, there's a street cop, not a street cop, but he was a correctional officer, but he was in street clothes. It was a black dude. He comes up, they pull me out, and they put me in handcuffs real quick to a room, and then they tell me that they read me my rights. They charged me with attempted murder. Or no, they read my rights to get statements based upon that. And I was like, what? And I just had pled guilty, and I took a deal on the drive-by shooting I did. So here I am already with a drive-by shooting, and now they're reading me my rights for some allegations and charges. So I didn't say shit, though, but I was fucking pissed, man. So when I came back, man, I started flipping out, man, because I was a kid, man. I started fucking hitting the fucking door. I hit my fucking head on the window and shit, all kinds of shit, talking shit. And next thing you know, they come and they snatch me up, man. They ruffle me up. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much beat my ass a little bit. I was fighting with them for a little bit. And in the process of that, they ended up putting shackles on me. The shackles like that they take you to court when you're on the fourth floor. And they put it like this to where on the backside, it was going up through the front like that, from the back, from my ankles. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of crazy shit like that, man. And, man, dude, and it was a headache, man. Like I was really hurt, man. They put everything on tight, and they were fucking giving me little fucking hits the whole time. And they were moving me at that time to 6B, which at that time was like a level 4 type facility. You know what I'm saying? And in the process, man, I ended up seeing a free staff that knew me. He was our paper boy as a kid. And he looks at me like, what's going on, man? I'm like, I don't say nothing to him. You know what I mean? Because he used to always come by and bring the laundry, and he'd always give me extra stuff and so forth, man. So they take me up the elevator, and then they put me in 6B. You know what I'm saying? Which this whole thing kind of, when I went to 6B, is probably what transformed my life, because when I got there, there was a lot of, there was NF members and there was NR members in that block. You know what I'm saying? You had like Philip Ortega, Chuco was there again. He was running the block. Little Ray Salas from Gilroy. I think Ralph Avalos was there at that time. Chente Rollball. All kinds of dudes, like future structure and future NF members were there. And I get there and I submit my report. And verbally, I meet Chuco for the first time. And, Chuco had like a long fucking like hair right here. And he had like a square look like this. He used to wear glasses and stuff, man. So he never, to me, gave off the impression that he was NF, but like I just seen how much respect that he had. And Chuco basically gave me the rules when I was there, which was if you see a homeboy fight, and if the person gets the best of him, you have to jump in. If the homeboy's getting the best of him, it's up to you if you want to jump in. You know what I mean? Those were the options. And basically we had a tienda, kick into the tienda, once a week when you go to the store. So that's what I used to always do. And, in the process, this dude tried to shmut me up. The dude I stabbed, he told some homeboys, oh, he's no good. You know what I'm saying? And the homeboys were like, they weren't taking any work because he ended up going to the 7th floor and stuff like that, right? So twice they tried pulling me out to interview, and I refused to say anything. They said, what were you doing in your bag when you went to your bed? I said, I was getting some cookies, and they kept on asking me. Then they even sent the free staff there asking me like, hey, man, tell me what happened, man. You know what I mean? Whoa. I'm like, nothing happened, man. I don't know. I don't know who did anything. I have nothing to say. And after he left, when he went out that building, I was in the cell. I could see where he was going. He talked to that cop and he shook his head like he couldn't get nothing from me. So what happened is they ended up telling me that this dude told them that I did it, but he did not want to be on no paperwork because he was active, I guess, probably, right? He just didn't want to be on paperwork. So they were trying to coerce a statement out of me. I didn't give one. You know what I'm saying? And this story gets a little interesting later on. So I ended up catching my time. I ended up getting 5 years for the shooting and so forth, man. And that environment gave me the first, understanding of the structure and NF and so forth. This is where I got my schooling. They specifically put me in a cell with a bro to start getting schooled at that time before I went to the Pinta. And so when I learned all this stuff and the indoctrinations and teachings, I left striving, you know what I'm saying? You know, with all the skills that you're supposed to have, you know what I mean? Not like other Northerners who go to the system blind. I was already laced up, you know, so within a month I was already in the hole in San Quentin for a melee. You know, I was ready to make those sacrifices and got, you know, involved in the politics and so forth. So when I get to my first mainline, they put me on a level 3. My points were like 32, or 34, borderline. So what they do is they decided, because it was my first time, they moved me out to level 3 because they just got off. We were on lockdown, and they moved me to a level 2 yard, right? So when I get there, it's dorm living. You know what I'm saying? I plug in with the homeboys. I'm striving. This is where I got my weather bird on my head. I was there for probably like 2-3 weeks. So I met another homeboy that I came on the bus from Quitting there, and they overrode him to the level 2. So I was taught whenever you have a conflict to assess it, right? Not to leave things be. So this is the yard that we're on, I think was a 3 yard, but it was a level 2. That's how they identified the yards there. Yard 1 was a level 3, yard 2 was a level 3, yard 3 was a level 2, and yard 4 is a level 2. So I'm walking the yard, and I'm with this homeboy Bam Bam. I think his last name was Espinoza. And when we're walking, he's a pretty big dude. I'm just a kid. I see that vato that I fucking sliced in the county jail with 3 other woods at a table. So on instinct, bro, I stop, and I just go up to him. I said, "What's cracking?" Like I was ready to get off right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? I heard you fucking told on me. You know what I'm saying? And he got all fucking scared, and he was with some other fucking woods, and they're like, "What's going on here?" And then homeboy came up, and I'm like, "Man, you know what I mean? Like, what's cracking?" Homeboy's like, "Man, let it go, let it go." And I'm like, "Fuck this dude, this bitch," you know what I mean? I'm like, this is in front of him. Nothing happened though. So we go and we leave, and the homeboy's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Man, it happened on instinct." You know what I'm saying? I run the dude that I stabbed. Yeah, literally on the yard. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of politics being talked about on the yard and so forth, right? And I told the homeboys, like, "Man, fuck this dude." You know what I mean? This dude told on me. I go, "I can't prove it," but I go, "I stabbed him." I go, "That fucking the scars on his neck, that's from me." You know what I'm saying? I go, "How am I going to be on the yard knowing I stabbed this dude and feel fucking cool?" And so you already know that the fucking white boys in the yard were probably tripping. You know, here goes a Northerner looking like a wood, you know what I'm saying, that sliced the fucking one of their people. And then I jam him up and call him a bitch on the yard. You know what I'm saying? In front of his homeboys, you know? And so I tell you like this, within about 3 days, I hit I hit the tienda, I got my stuff. Within 3 days, they transferred me back to the level 3 yard. So what do you think happened? That dude told on me. You know what I'm saying? Which was better because I like to sell living, man. But, you know, the thing is, man, like, and this is something for like anybody to understand. Once you involve yourself in the lifestyle and you start getting accustomed to it, doing pegadas, like on the streets, I was already used to doing shootings and stabbings and so forth at that time. Because I came out when I was 18, fucking buck wild. You know what I'm saying? Just shootings and everything like that. I went from a different type of individual. Like I said before, in one of my spills, that when I was younger, I was more like trying to fit in, trying to find my place. You know what I mean? And at this point, I had found my place in who I was. You know what I'm saying? I was no longer going to be someone that was, just someone that was there. I was going to have a name for myself. And so that's the thing, that the problem with a lot of us is that when you look for outlets to, you know what I'm saying, get that recognition or fill that void, sometimes you start to involve yourself in being something because you want that attention. Like I've said before, the invisible person. You know what I'm saying? At times I felt invisible, unrecognized as a kid. So therefore, I wanted something to fill that void. I wanted that recognition. I wanted that ego. And that's the sad thing is this continues throughout your life. If you really start to strive in the political ballgame, like most people who ascend to statuses or partake in these organizations, usually it's because they are seeking that recognition that comes with that life, because normal lifestyle is something that they haven't been able to grow and accustomed to. And so the whole purpose, man, someone asked me about this, how did you feel? And the thing is how I felt was what people thought of me. And that's the sad thing about youngsters these days is we take action. We commit violent acts. We do certain things because we're more worried what others think of us. because we want our ego pacified. We want that recognition. We want people to look at us. And I could really sit here now as a mature adult who's no longer a part of that lifestyle and realized it was my own thinking that would get me in these situations. It was me worried about what you thought of me. So therefore, I was going to take whatever necessary actions to be given the respect that I wanted to be shown. I wanted to be looked at. And that's a cycle that needs to be broken, man, because a lot of these people, man, you get in that lifestyle and the excuse comes on later on in life that this is all I know. And I used to be one of those persons that said that. My whole saying would have been like, I am what I am, like Popeye the Sailor Man. It's just what I do. And that was basically a false statement on my part, man, because I did what I did because I had a void in myself. I had more insecurities in myself than I realized. And a lot of people that live that life in that gang banging mentality, there's insecurities there. And that's the truth and the reality. And then you don't realize how bad you've affected your life till later on. You know, now that life came full circle, I realized what I was looking for as a kid. I wasn't getting the attention that was needed, you know, and I didn't have the right outlets to fulfill what I needed to do in myself. So, I mean, and that just kind of, it escalated, it evolved. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reach a point to where you just continue like this. Once you start to do certain things, it starts to become a part of you. You condition yourself. You know, a lot of us just weren't born that way to think criminally. I mean, and think about doing pegadas and selling dope and so forth. It just becomes a natural reaction. It's a condition. You know, it's the same way when you get to the shoe, you start to instill qualities and characteristics of discipline. It's the same way in that lifestyle. And it gets easier and easier. I've said this before. You know, before I was scared as a youngster to do a shooting on the streets. You know, once I did my first one, it became easier and easier. Then it became a natural instinct to where, man, who's getting shot next? You know what I'm saying? And that's the bad thing about this lifestyle is, you know, it evolves. You don't just start at one position and this is who you are. You grow into it. You become something that because of something you're seeking. Anyways, man, this is an interesting topic, man. Someone asked me, I think it was Triple OG asked me, Triple OG. So I said, you know what, man? I don't like to glorify certain things I have done in the past, but at the same time, sometimes these stories, you know, and hearing what and why I did what I did makes more sense to the youngsters out there. Because I know there's a lot of youngsters that are going through the same type of feelings of, you know, lack of appreciation and recognition, and they feel like they're the invisible person in the room. And that's how I felt as a kid. You know, I didn't get the necessary attention at times that I felt I needed. And therefore, I channeled that aggression in other areas. And that's the reality of this. Anyways, it's your boy Flaco. Real Talk with Flaco, as you already know. Tap in, subscribe, hit that bell. I'm out.